I normally don't keep the first round. I typically just waste and sacrifice that beginning solution. And then when I do that, I'll grab one of these vials, I'll uncap it, and that fits kind of perfectly down in there. It's kind of made for it.
We decided to do this project because a few of our members had heard about issues surrounding parabens, but all the studies had been mostly in like cosmetics or like regular food products, and there hadn't been any testing in fast food. So we decided to look into that.
Parabens are antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial agents. Pretty much, like parabens can make food last a very long time on the shelf because with its presence, bacteria, fungus, anything of that sort does not grow on it.
They're actually banned in Japan and Europe, so we wanted to see where we could go with them in our project.
In other nations, in their health agencies, like it has been discovered to cause cancer, that it's just generally not healthy. It's a hormone mimicker. It mimics the hormone estrogen, which greatly impacts females. And mostly parabens are found in cosmetics, which also, it's a double concern.
First, of course, we had to learn about the actual machinery and what parabens are. And once we had like our background information, in our heads, we decided, all right, we split up into teams, went out to all the fast food places, McDonald's, PTs, Cookout, places like that. We bought the simplest things we could buy, plain hamburgers, French fries, and right now we're actually cutting them all up to be processed so that we can run them through the HPLC and test and see what we get.
They are currently dicing up our samples for prep. Pretty much we'll have them diced up, and then we will turn them into a liquid with a solvent, and that will pull out all the parabens that are inside of them. And then from that, we use the HPLC machine to analyze them and just see the quantities.
HPLC is the high performance liquid chromatographer, and you basically use that to see the components that is inside of a sample.
Today we filtered out the samples that we processed yesterday, and with that we injected it into the HPLC vials so they can be inserted into the HPLC for chromatography testing, so like for separation.
Put the syringe filter, there's only one way that it will fit, right? So it won't fit on that way, but it fits nice and snug like that.
I mean, we're expecting to find something in there. I mean, of course these foods have preservatives, it's just how much and what is in there. I'm hoping we find something just so that we can say to the public, this is what is here.
We chose this mostly because it impacts a lot of people. Like, United States, we do eat a lot of fast food, and it's simple, it's fast, and it's cheap, but it's like, how bad is it really impacting the human population of the United States? Because if there is like a lot of parabens in these fast foods that we're consuming, then we really want to be consuming as much as we are.
I think this topic is really interesting because, I mean, everyone eats fast food, and everyone has concerns about it, but we eat it anyway. However, some of those concerns are becoming more prominent, and people, they want to know. Like, it's important things that we need to know. What's going into our bodies, what we're putting on ourselves, what we're putting in ourselves.
Okay. So if you want to slide the tray into the machine. Okay. And then we'll push that one up too. And then you're loaded up.
Well, after we ran the samples in the HPLC, it was really hard to read our data, so we had to do some additional testing, and we filtered them again, stuff like that to make it a bit more accurate, and we actually got some really good results from that.
We found that in every sample there was some content of paraben. From most to least, it was methyl, propyl, ethyl, and then butyl. Propylparaben being the second most is surprising because propyl and butyl are the two parabens that have been under fire for the longest in all the other nations that have the parabens banned.
Methylparaben was definitely our most common one. It was found in almost every sample. Wendy's had the most overall out of all the restaurants.
Once we got the results the first time, we couldn't even quantify them because they were so high off the charts. Like everything was ran off of a set of standards, and the fries set was so high in concentration that the standards couldn't even register how high they were. Wendy's fries in particular had insane levels of methylparaben, and Wendy's fries was 150 times higher in methylparaben than there was in Burger King's beef, which is it's a very high amount.
I was also kind of surprised that we found it in every sample. I thought maybe some restaurants like that are based here, like PTs, maybe wouldn't be as bad, but they really had just as much.
Burger King actually holds the title for highest in both of them. Everyone's talking about McDonald's and how bad they are, and well, McDonald's are second lowest in pretty much every category, including fries, so they're not doing that bad.
It was pretty varied. Like some had more of one type of paraben, some had more in one type of food. It was kind of all over the place.
Burger-wise and like just, buns and meat, Wendy's had the lowest in both of them. Like by far the lowest. They pretty much were non-existent.
I was a little bit surprised that they would be found in every sample. Like every sample had something.
The fact that that much exists, plus everything else you're intaking and being exposed to, it's a practice that you do not want to continue if you are living a high fast food lifestyle.
I would say that after all this research that we've been doing, the amounts in these foods aren't lethal, but it's certainly not good for you. Combined with all the other sources that you can get parabens from, like cosmetics, as of right now, we're not really sure of all the effects that can be had from them, but it's certainly not healthy, and we should definitely limit our intake of stuff like that.
The concerns of fast food, like everyone would think that they're bad because they're high in fat, they're unhealthy, they don't provide enough nutrition, and everyone forgets about the other part of it where they add chemicals to preserve these things such as parabens, and the amount that they pump in is unregulated by the FDA, so you don't know what you're consuming. And now that we know, it's a pretty alarming amount.